we go on the stage, and again, it's all scripted, right? Which is great, because I don't have to, you know, make stuff up, but a lot of the times they have some words in there that don't really sound natural, or they have some lines that I wouldn't say. Like, in the Persona panel, they had a line, and I didn't ask if I should change this, so it's my own fault, really. But I felt like I couldn't change it given the context of the question, where there was and maybe if you were here, you'll if you were at the panel, you'll know what I'm talking about. But in the panel, there was one question that they had me ask, which was so against what I would ask. So they unveil these new characters, and one of them is like an older woman, and one of them is just like an old-ish woman. And so I have to ask the question, don't you think this woman is a little old for the Persona franchise? Or something along those lines. And I'm like, it is like, I would never say this. I would never say this. I would say the opposite. And so when I asked this question, half of the audience started fucking laughing and going like, I heard the huh noises. I was like, no, I don't want to say this. I'm on a script. I can't not say this. I like the older woman. She's the hottest girl here. And then they did apologize. No, they didn't apologize. The person who was like mediating for us with the agencies did comment afterwards. They were like, yeah, we did you dirty with that line. I was like, yeah, you did. So, but there was one point during this panel, and maybe, I think it was unnoticeable, but I noticed it, where we have to go down the script, and all the slides that are being played are dependent on the script. So we're going down one by one. And at one point, the guy's saying something in Japanese, and my script is in Japanese for his Japanese, right? It's not translated. I only just see Japanese. And so I'm looking out for keywords to make sure that we're on the same point. And I notice, I'm like, I don't think he's saying the thing that we're on. I think he might be saying something else. And so I'm kind of like freaking out a little bit, and I'm looking through my script, because I'm realizing now we are now off script, and we're not somewhere where we should be. And I obviously didn't prepare for this, because we have a script and we stick to the script. So I'm like, oh God. And this is like another problem when you're hosting. You're like, okay, now I have to think fast. I have to think really fast here. What's going on? So I'm kind of figuring out, I'm listening, and there's an interpreter next to me who's really nice. And I've actually worked with this guy a couple of other times at Anime Expo. And he points out to me, he like, as the guy was talking in Japanese, he leans over to me, he goes, just so you know, they've skipped ahead. And I was like, okay. Problem is now, I don't know where they've skipped ahead to. So he's in the middle of interpreting, and then like the answer, and that means that he's saying it in English, which means I have to follow up. So I'm like, okay, I think we're here. So then I say the next thing of where I think we are. And then I say it, and then they start answering in Japanese. And so I realized that I think he answered the question prior, and so the question I just asked was the question that he just answered. So we were a little off here. So I go to the guy, and I'm like, do you know where we're at? And then he points where he's like, I think we're here. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go here. Anyway, he finished the next sentence. So we skip ahead, we fix it. But just a bit of a hiccup. But yeah, it turns out that one of the staff had just skipped 2 questions ahead without, like, unprompted. It's gonna be stressful? Yeah, it's super stressful. But you know what? It's part of the job. It's part of the job, you know? As the MC, I don't do a whole lot. I'm kind of there to just shepherd the conversation in the correct direction and mess up any fuck-ups, right? Because I'm the only person on the panel, except for the interpreter who, you know, speaks English and is trying to, you know, keep the flow of the thing. They all speak Japanese. They don't speak very good English, so they don't know what's going on. So they're kind of trusting me to kind of direct this conversation in the right way. So I feel really bad when I mess something up or I'm lost for a second, because I'm like, oh no, what's going on here? So that was the first time that's ever happened to me. But that was really, but it was all good in the end, and it wasn't a big question. So you could have skipped the questions too. Well, yeah, but I would skip. I stick to the script. You know, when the company gives you the script, you stick to the script. You know, generally speaking. Yeah, so trying to at least leave a service. But again, really fun. Like, I really love hosting. For me, it's a fun challenge, because as a content creator, I feel like it's so easy for me to stick to what I'm comfortable with. But pushing myself out there and doing shows and hosting events that I'm not super knowledgeable about It's just a really fun challenge for me, and constantly forces me to keep improving in an aspect that I feel like I could easily stagnate on. So I like doing it a lot, and I feel like it ends up making everything else that I do better for it, because I'm able to host more confidently. So I think it went, overall, it went like really well, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm really excited about that.